seventh playoff race at Las Vegas, Joey Logano locks himself into the championship four. We had some of the best picks that we've ever had. My name is Dan. This is my son, Nick. He's away at college. I'm at home. This is how we've been enjoying the 2022 Nascar Cup season together. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good. I enjoyed the race very much. Lots of good racing, lots of good placement, a little skirmish, but overall, a really good race.
In the last episode, I picked Joey Logano to win, and he did. Nick picked Ross Chastain to win, and he finished second. So can't do any better than that.
Yeah.
Our consensus top three pick was Chase Elliott. He was not great in this race. He finished 21st, never really had much going there. But then for our top non-playoff drivers, I picked Kyle Busch, who somehow finished third in this race after all the mess that he was a part of. And then Nick picked Bubba Wallace, who was a standout in this race. Would you say?
He was a standout in this race, yeah.
So Bubba Wallace actually wins the first stage, and then it all falls apart.
I mean, he was looking really good, which I can see why he's frustrated about what happened, because he had a good car for it. I said he would be good at tracks like this because he won back in Texas.
When he got run up on by Larson and he bumped into the wall, there was something in his brain that overrode the fact that he could probably come out of this, and he just saw red.
There's a better time for it. I get the retaliation, and then what? He's missing one race, and that's the only penalty, right?
You know, his reputation kind of takes a hit.
Yeah.
This will be something that he's going to have to keep talking about in interviews. It'll be something that's going to take him a little while to come back from, but I believe he probably will learn from this. Learn that, for one, without taking yourself out of the race too, and for two, taking his nearly teammate, who is playoff driver, out of the race.
Just another hole that Bell's fallen into. If anyone can get out of it, it's Bell, but it's not fortunate for him to be 23 points onto the line already.
No, because that, there can be other drivers that have trouble, but that almost puts him in the point that he's got to win a race again. Joey Logano wins. He moves up to first in the playoff standings. Of course, he's locked in to the championship. Ross Chastain moves up to second in the standings. Chase Elliott drops from first down to third place, but he is 17 points in the clear above the cut line. Denny Hamlin moves up to fourth place in the standings. He is 6 points above the cut line. William Byron is in fifth place. He is 6 points below. Chase Briscoe moves up in the standings from eighth place to sixth place. And he did this with an impressive fourth place finish, which was kind of one of those deals where he was hanging around long enough that he was able to be up there at the end. But Chase Briscoe is 9 points below the cut line. Ryan Blaney falls down to seventh in the standings with a crash late in that race. He is 11 points out. And then, as we said, our big loser of the week, though it was no fault of his own, was Christopher Bell. He drops to eighth place, and he is 23 points out. And this takes us to Homestead Miami for this Sunday's race. This will be the first and only race at Miami in this season. You have to go all the way back to early last season, early 2021, for the last Cup race that we had there. And in that race, William Byron was the winner. Tyler Reddick was second. Martin Truex Jr. was third. Kyle Larson was fourth. And Kevin Harvick was fifth. That was over a year ago. Of course, now we're in the next gen car. But if you look at some Miami track history, here's some interesting tidbits, Nick. Tyler Reddick has 2 Cup races at Miami and 2 top 5 finishes. What do you think?
I mean, that does say something, even though it's been a year and their next gen cars. Consistency, as I always say, consistency. And you already know Reddick is going to be going for the win. He's got nothing to lose. He'll be up there, and I'm sure he's going to be racing hard for it.
He's been good, I
Mhm.
think, every week since he got eliminated
Yeah.
from the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he's clearly fast. Martin Truex Jr. at Homestead Miami. In the last 5 Cup races there, he has 1 win and 4 top 5s. What do you think?
Again, that is some really good stats. It is Truex. He hasn't been a complete all-star this season. So it's possible. He's good at this track, so I'd give him the benefit of the doubt that he can run pretty well, but I just don't see him being one of the fastest cars out there that is a top 5 finisher.
Okay, we'll put this one also in the category of take it for what it's worth. Kevin Harvick in the last 5 Cup races, 4 top 5s.
It's the same guys in every race, top 5. That's I mean, Harvick is more believable than Truex for being good, fast car at this track. I could see a Harvick top 5 a bigger possibility than Truex.
Do you think that Harvick might have any extra juice just because the news came out that after next season, he's not planning on returning to Stewart-Haas Racing?
I always think that's a possibility. And like with Reddick, I know he's got the extra juice. He's got what, like 2 or 3 weeks left with his team before he leaves. He wants to show off how great he is. He's been great. So Harvick may have some extra push for that.
While we're on the subject of Stewart-Haas Racing, you think Cole Custer might have feel like he's got something to prove in this race, knowing that Tony Stewart wants to bring in Ryan Preece in his place next season?
Yeah, also Custer, which I thought last week that he was gonna have something to prove, especially for the mess that was going on before him, showing he's a great guy, he's a great racer. I would like Custer up there again. He wasn't great last week, but I do feel like he'll have some push also.
And just an FYI, Custer has 2 Cup races at Miami, 2 top 25 finishes. So nothing really impressive there. But we'll see what kind of speed he might have this week. Okay, let me give you one more of these. Kyle Busch at Homestead Miami. In the last 5 Cup races there, he has 1 win and all top 10s.
I mean, Kyle Busch, he was right there at the end last week. Kyle Busch, he kind of fell off, but he's kind of turned himself back on also to try and win these races.
Yeah, I got a little bit of cockroach vibes last week. He spins through the grass. All right. So that's not going to take you out of the race, but it's certainly not good for you. Then he loses a tire while he's on the track. Tire comes off. And so he got that fixed. But then I started paying attention to other things. The next thing I know, he's running back up front again.
Can't put him down. He could be good at this Miami one.
Yeah. With Joey Logano locked into the championship, that means there's only 3 spots left for 7 drivers to try to claim. We talked about Christopher Bell. He's in a very tight spot. What about Ryan Blaney, who is 11 points back?
He's down, but 11 is not terrible. Like, get them stage points. And it really is anyone's game, for especially the 4th slot, with Hamlin only being 6 points ahead. There's still time for all of them. Like, Byron's only 6 points down. You win a stage, you're back up there.
And Byron has a win at this track.
He'll be going all out, I'm sure.
Chastain and Elliott are 2nd and 3rd place. They're both, relatively safe, 17 and 18 points above the cut line. This is not really a time, though, to just be conservative, is it?
I still don't see them like pulling back and being safe. I don't see why they wouldn't still try and get this win, especially Chastain. I can see him winning this. Even Elliott could be up there.
So Homestead Miami is a 1.5 mile intermediate track, but it is set apart a little bit from the ones we've been on recently, Texas, Las Vegas, Kansas, because Miami has higher tire wear. Something that puts it maybe a little similar to is California. Of course, California is a little bit larger track. Also similar to Atlanta in terms of the tire wear, but Atlanta is become more of a pack racing track. So I don't know that we have a whole lot from this season that's going to tell us what we might expect just based on the track type.
Yeah, this one, you're right, is hard to judge, especially with it being over a year since anyone raced it. But the tire wear is always a topic week after week almost that the announcers love to go over. So that could play a factor in how this race turns out.
And John Hunter Nemechek is going to be driving Bubba Wallace's car. And I saw that Nemechek actually did a tire test in the next gen car at this track recently for that team. So he's going to have some experience that he brings in. I checked, he doesn't have a great history at this track in cup races, though, back when he was racing with the cup.
He's still, I find him a fun driver to watch. So that will be cool seeing him in a cup car.
Who do you got to win this race?
Who do I got to win? I, unfortunately, am going to say Chase Elliott.
Why is it unfortunate?
Out of all these other guys, he's one of the two past champions. And me personally, I want a new champion. With all these other guys, I like the young guys, Byron, Blaney, especially Bell. I like Chastain. But I just don't see Elliott not making the championship four. And I think he's going to cement that right here in this race.
So, Nick, for my pick to win, this is a tough one for me. I don't have one that I feel like really stands out, but I think Ross Chastain has been running well. And I think he's gonna be looking to lock himself in. He's definitely got the capability to win. He's my pick for this week.
I think that's a good pick also.
So for our consensus top 3 driver, who do you want to add to this?
I feel like it's pretty obvious, and this might be a first, but it's a non-playoff driver, Tyler Reddick.
I don't feel like it's as obvious as maybe you do, but I agree with you. And we're going to make Reddick our consensus third guy that we pick. So he is a non-playoff driver, but outside of him, Nick, do you have a sleeper or your next top non-playoff guy for this race?
This is when it gets a little tricky because you got guys like Truex. I don't trust him. Also Harvick, I think he'd do well, but I don't trust him enough to put him top 5, top 8 kind of sleeper guy. I'm going to say Suarez.
Nick, that's who I was going to say. So we're in agreement on that. Suarez has been tough in these last few races. You can tell that he really wants to finish this season strong, even though he's out of the playoffs. He's been good. In that case, it gives me no grief since I can't use Suarez to go with another guy who has been tough here at the end of the season, and that's Eric Jones.
I knew that was coming, but it's justified enough that I can't hate on Eric Jones because he has been tough. He has been fast. So I can't blame you for that pick also.
All right. Well, we've got practice and qualifying on Saturday morning and the races in the early afternoon on Sunday. We're looking forward to that. It'll get us one step closer to the championship. We'll see if another guy is locked in or if it's going to be some more points racing going on. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the race this weekend, everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.